We are bombarded with stories constantly, like more than ever today, through social media. So being aware of what kinds of stories we're taking in and exposing ourselves to is important now.
In the unraveling, that is where we actually find the pieces that make that next thing even better, because it wasn't for nothing. We learn from these things. We grow from them if we choose to.
It's almost like I have to have these tower moments in my life in order to level up. And a lot of us become nurturers and healers through the traumas that we have, and that makes the world a better place.
Nothing is an accident. It's an incident of awakening. You take it all in and go, what a blessing, because everything is showing up on our path for our expansion.
The past does not equal the future. The past doesn't define who I am and my future. We define that. We decide. We make the choice.
Hello, beautiful souls. It is Sophia from Sacred You. Thank you so much for being here. But before we dive into today's Wisdom Circle, I have a small request from my heart. If our conversations ever resonate with you or support you on your journey, please subscribe to our channel or like this video. It helps us grow Sacred You, welcome more powerful voices into this space, and keep you connected to everything we share. Thank you so much for walking this path with us, and let us begin with today's conversation. Welcome to another amazing Wisdom Circle that I'm really excited about, because I get to hear these incredible women tell a story and share their wisdom about this story. I don't even know what we're going to hear today. The beautiful Samantha is back with Myths to Feed and Nourish the Wild Woman. So Samantha, I'm going to thank you ever so much for bringing this again. I love your Wisdom Circles. And I'm handing it over to you to introduce yourself, the story, and these amazing speakers. So thank you.
Thank you, Sophia. And I am Samantha. I am a storyteller, nature lover, a coach, and a speaker. And most of the stories I've been telling are from women that run with the wolves. But today, the story I'm going to be telling is about a woman, or the feminine, the creative power. However, and it's from a man called Michael Meade, an incredible storyteller. Has anyone heard of him here? No. Have you heard of Robert Bly? Did a lot of men, like, was very pioneering in doing men's work, actually, and another amazing storyteller. And the father of my daughter, way back when, introduced me to these amazing men and their stories. And so I just want to acknowledge him. He passed a couple of years ago. The man I was married to and who introduced me to these people, and we were living in South Africa, and he actually traveled to the United States because he was working as a journalist to go and interview Robert Bly. Look him up if you love stories, as well as Michael Meade, and I can share the link actually afterwards on this YouTube recording. So I help overwhelmed and stressed out parents of neurodivergent children to avoid burnout and to find their spark again. And I do that with workshops and one-on-one work. So I would love to hear what you all do, as well as what has brought you to, what drew you to listen to a story today. I'll go alphabetical. Abby.
Sure. Thank you so much. I'm so grateful to be here. I'm Abby Teixeira, and I'm hailing from Treaty 6 territory, also known as Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. And I am a speaker. I'm a published writer, author, trauma recovery coach, and a feminine leadership guide. I'm also a complex trauma survivor and a mama for beautiful little blessings, ages 7 and under. So life is very intense for me. I guide cycle breaking women and femmes, especially Black, Indigenous women of colors, these are healers, coaches, and creatives, really step out of isolation and survival and into embodied community rooted leadership. And I do this by holding sacred spaces where their grief, their rage, their truth, their wisdom can really be witnessed and integrated and transformed into sovereignty. And the reason I'm here and story is magnetic for me is because I truly believe that our lived experience holds the medicine that the world needs, and so our stories, right? And this is how we can heal each other, and this is how we can heal in community. And so I'm excited for story time today with you lovely ladies. Thanks for having me on.
Yay. Thanks, Abby. Beautiful. It's great to see you again in the call.
Yeah.
Adele.
Hello, thanks for having me. Why did I come? So Sophia just said it'd be something that I'd be interested in. I said, check out one before I commit. You guys are my one. Anyways, I'm actually in Calgary, Alberta, so I'm just a couple hours south of Abby, and I'm a soul strategist, intuitive guide, and I help men and women find their true north again. And it's usually through corporate, like they're burnt out, they're done, they don't know where to go. So whether it's going from corporate into retirement or into a new vocation or just retirement, they're feeling a bit lost because they've been doing the have tos. I have to make an income. I have to go to my job. And I'm like, let's follow your true north. So the accountant becomes the artist, or the engineer becomes the musician.
Great. And you're the lighthouse, showing them, shining light on where to go, guiding them.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Because it's all about coming home to their heart.
Yep. And these images speak to us in a way that words and logic do not reach. And that's where story is important too. Story speaks to the nervous system directly, and the nervous system being part of the body. Thank you, Adele. And Joanne.
Hello everyone, Jo here from Northern New South Wales, Australia. Beautiful land of milk and honey and Bundjalung Nation. Thank you for having me. So for me, I very much relate to the ladies that already spoken in coming home to ourselves. So from a young age, I was shaped by my trauma, loss and adversity. So then I became a single mum of 4 children, and that challenge really shaped who I am today, and I've devoted the last 4 decades in, first of all, rooting myself in nutrition as food as our medicine, but also just learning about how we can live a life of choice. And I'm certified in NLP and hypnosis, regression therapist and results coach. Done all the things, sat in ashrams for many months. And yeah, so I'm here to also shape and help women discover who they are and live the life that they love. Thank you.
And you've come to a few stories. So what brings you back?
I actually love your storytelling, Samantha. I think it's a piece that I don't always seek myself outside, because there's so much going on in my life, and this is just time for me to come home and indulge in your offering here, which is always absolutely beautiful, and often contribute to the stories as well, and makes you think very deeply about your own journey in becoming, and it always resonates in some way. So I love your storytelling, and you're such a beautiful storyteller as well. So
thank you, Jo. And we are bombarded with stories constantly through, like more than ever today, through social media. It's really being aware of what kinds of stories we're taking in and exposing ourselves to is important now. And hopefully the kind of stories that I'm sharing will be medicine rather than poison. Okay, and what about you, Lisa?
Hi, I'm Lisa Doucette, and I am located in Nova Scotia, Canada, the unceded territory of the Mi'kmaq peoples. I am so thrilled to be here tonight. This is my second Wisdom Circle, and what drew me to this is how authentic the reactions of the women are and the conversations. I think a lot of times, especially as women, we're performative, and this is really juicy for me where we get to come here and be authentic and show our authentic selves. A little bit about me. I have a small business here in Nova Scotia called Crooked Crown of Gems. I'm a Reiki master and teacher, a published author, death doula, and a human design analyst. I combine a lot of those modalities together, and I was particularly drawn to this one because of the wild woman, and I believe that we all need to come back to our own wild woman, and it's part of our remembering of who we are.
Wow, many talents, all of you. Thank you. Thanks, Lisa. I'd love to just ask you all, because triggered by Adele's symbol of a lighthouse there, if you were to symbolize your business, what would your symbol be? Maybe you already have it in your logo. I don't have a logo yet, but my symbol is the Russian nesting dolls, and my business name is Neuronest Carer Support. And this nest of dolls is both an unpacking of our different layers, but it's also the nest that keeps us safe and holds us, which is the safe space that I'm wanting to provide. So that is my symbol. And yes, I'd love to hear from all of you briefly about your symbol.
As you called me out with my lighthouse, it picked me because as I was building this company and I had no idea about what should I have on a background in Zoom and all that stuff. And I just didn't like the blurred out vision. And when I picked the lighthouse, it was more about taking my focus from the flashlight to a broader view. Because as much as I love one-on-one work, I was told to go on a bigger stage. And I'm like, I don't want to. And so the lighthouse has been a way of opening up my view in order to work with many.
Yes, okay.
And then it also, one of my guides is the meaning of the name is the sunshine as the waves dance on the shore. And I'm like, oh, you trying to say you work together? Okay. So I'm coming in as dancing on the shore, the ray of light, as we look broader in the lighthouse.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Thank you.
I love that. I love that. That's gorgeous. Mine is the butterfly. My logo is a butterfly. Sorry, not a butterfly, a dragonfly. It once was a butterfly and then it turned to a dragonfly many moons ago. And I didn't understand why. I just resonated with this beautiful dragonfly. And when you watch dragonflies in the environment, you know, they're just so graceful and beautiful and colorful. They become many colors and they actually move around, and I see them as a symbol of they're communicators, but also a messenger. So they send messages of good things to come and positive messages around. They just spread their wings and fly. And in a way, it's like the universe communicating a specific message to you. So open yourself up for learning and your life's journey. And the presence I think their presence can be quite comforting through difficult times as well. So there's a whole lot that, yeah.
Yes. And you can be that dragonfly in people's lives, just splitting in and bringing that up. To me, they bring magic.
Yeah. And my business name is Weight Free Mind.
Yes.
Can I jump in?
Sure.
Yes.
Okay, so this is through the people I listened to in podcasts and stuff, and they said everyone was always about the transformation in butterflies. But butterflies represent daily challenges, weekly challenges in our life at present. where the
Mm.
dragonfly is coming now as we shift into the new world, because they stay under the water for up to 5 years
Oh,
before they
wow.
come up to
Uh,
spread their wings to say, we are here for transformative change, not the daily
mhm,
change of a
mhm.
butterfly. And I was just like, wow. So when I see dragonflies, I'm like, oh, you meant to be here and I'm meant to see you. So yeah, I just thought I'd share.
I
Lovely.
love that. Thank you. An extra layer to get excited about.
Yes.
Well, I can share because we're on the topic of butterflies, and it's interesting because like I have them tattooed all over. I have tons of butterfly
Ah,
tattoos, really symbolizing that rebirth and kind of transformational process that I've gone through. And when I've done studies on or research on just how that transformation happens, I think it's just such a powerful analogy to use, right? Where they literally die, like they have a
yeah.
death and they go through this deep initiation and they come out completely transformed, never to go back to what they were before. And so for a
Yes.
very long time, it has been, yeah, like the butterfly for me. But in recent times, more so in this past year, I'm really relating to the hummingbird. I love what the hummingbird represents. It's just this joyful, resilient kind of lightness after heaviness that they really represent. And so I feel like I used to be more aligned with the butterfly, and now I am transitioning into this hummingbird
Mm.
energy. And yeah, so I love the question because I've actually been thinking about, I don't have an official logo for my business yet, but I've been really thinking about it. And so I love having the conversation about this.
Beautiful. Thank you. And yeah, very different qualities. That's a lot of transformation. You've gone past the butterfly, from the caterpillar into the butterfly and into something else.
Yeah.
Thanks, Abby. Lisa, is there anything you'd like to share?
Yeah, I just want to jump on what Abby just said. Every transformation that we go through is a death, and it's because speaking of the death doula, it's very sacred. So what you're talking about is very sacred, and that transformation from the butterfly energy into the hummingbird energy is a very sacred transformation. It almost feels to me like it's almost more of a calming, like you're centering into who you really are. Yeah, so that's just beautiful. I just love it. My logo is a line drawn woman who's holding space because my favorite thing to do is to hold space for other women. But I opted for the line drawing, and it's like squiggles because healing is never linear. It's always all over the place.
Mm.
Yeah, so that's basically like I think the crux of what I want to do is to hold space for women to come back to who they are and understanding that it's never going to be just a straight, narrow line. It's always going to be complex, and you're going to come back and forth and travel through those transformations.
Yes, yes. And
Yeah.
that ties into my story today because it's not about attaining some perfect state with healing. And that's part of what the story is about. Let us ready to go into the cave, the unconscious, the hidden world, the mysterious world of story. And let's just take a couple of breaths and mark this transition into a different kind of time outside of our mundane world. The logical, the to-do list, all the things that we can choose to put aside now, because they will be waiting for us when we come back out of this space. So breathing deeply and see if you can just extend your exhalation slightly without any strain, just by being aware of your exhale. And keep breathing. See if you can relax even more, relax your body. You don't have to do anything. This is time to just receive, to connect with yourself, and really to just be. This story has been told for many years at times when things are really chaotic, when we don't know what's going on, when everything feels like it's unraveling. And it comes from the Native American tradition. So feel free to keep your eyes closed if you want to just feel more of the imagery, or have your eyes open, whatever you prefer. It's not a very long story. So everywhere in this world, on this earth, people are seeking, and especially the women in Sacred You are seeking for knowledge. And we are going on all these tracks and all these highways and byways, and we are moving around and we're looking for this knowledge. But what we don't know is that this knowledge is there inside a cave, and it's not very far away. And if you were ever to find this cave, you would come across one of the oldest women in existence. And she is sitting creating a garment. And this is no ordinary garment. It is the most beautiful. Last time I told the story, I cried half the time. This is the most beautiful garment you have ever seen. There are this incredible variety of threads, textures, colors, and she has been creating this garment for a very long time, and she's got older and older, and she's got to the point where she's actually working on the hem. And for the hem, every bird on the planet has brought her one feather from its own body as a gift. And what she does is she chews on the quill of these feathers so that it's flat and flexible enough to work into the hem. And she's been chewing down on these quills for such a long time that her teeth have been worn down almost to the gum. And in the back of the cave is one of the oldest things, they say, one of the most ancient things in this world. It is a fire. And above the fire is a huge cauldron. And inside that cauldron are the seeds of every single plant, every fruit, every herb, every tree that exists in our world. And every now and then, the old woman has to go to the back of the cave to stir the pot, because if she didn't do that, it would burn, and then we would have no more plants. And of course, we know what would happen if we had no more plants. So she's been working on the hem, and she slowly gets up. Everything she does is slow because her body's become very old and sore with all the work she's been doing on this garment. And she slowly makes her way back into the back of the cave, where she goes to stir the huge cauldron. And as she is stirring the cauldron, a black dog some say a black crow, comes into the cave and it notices a loose thread on the garment. So you have a dog, a loose thread. It starts pulling and it pulls until there is nothing left of the garment except just a chaotic tangle and mess of unraveled threads. And the old woman makes her way back from the cauldron, and she comes to see her labor of love, this garment she has spent such a long time creating, in a chaotic mess on the ground of the cave. And she takes a few moments to just look and to sit. We don't know if it was a few moments or a few years or eons, but she eventually puts out her hand. She notices an end of a thread, and she picks this end up, and she has this incredible vision come to her of a garment even more beautiful than the one that she had been working on all this time. And slowly she starts to weave this garment from the beginning. So that is the story. And some people say that, damn that black dog, if it wasn't for that black dog, she would have finished the garment. But what the elders tell us is that would have meant perfection. And the word means through the form, that everything would have been complete and we would have not been here today. So don't blame the dog. Don't blame the crow. And yeah, just I'd love to hear, where do you find yourself in that story? Where did you find yourself? Were there any moments that touched you, that spoke to you, that confused you?
All of it resonated. I was just reflecting, and the first thing that came to me, what a wise woman. The fact that she didn't react in that moment and she saw something more beautiful and went into creating something, because we're always, as we've talked about here with the butterfly, rebirthing, reinventing ourselves over and over. And I think felt for me that the garment, the initial garment, was her beautiful self, her diamond self already created, and her life's work, her life's passion, everything. And how sometimes chewing on was it the quill of the bird feather? We grind ourselves down. And then the cauldron representing reattending our needs, revisiting what we need to reignite passion. And then that whole felt like the story of my life, rebuilding, right? Reinventing. Yeah, it was beautiful. I really enjoyed that. And everything happens for a purpose, right? So we can keep reinventing ourselves, a better version, a more beautiful version, a wiser version. Thank you, Samantha. Love that.
Thank you for your reflections, Joan.
Yeah, I can see how every part of that we could all relate to. If you're working on something, you're just about done the project, and then it goes kaboom. And you're like, I'm not starting over. But you need to start over. But you have so much knowledge in doing it the first time that you can go through it faster. And it's the question that comes up for me is, What is the purpose of this for me? How have I contributed into the creation of all of these events happening? And it brings you back to, how aware were you when you were building it the first time? Right? Isn't it better that whatever you're building gets pulled apart before you're on the stage to display? Right?
Yes, because there's a better version, maybe.
And Abby, I'm using your tradition as one of the thoughts that are coming to my head, because the raising of the teepee just doesn't happen because they decide to raise the teepee. If anyone knows how to raise a teepee, the poles are a little long, the canvas is just huge, and you just can't go, here's a good spot, let's put the tent up. It's not the same. And everybody comes together in community to raise the teepee. And then everyone else goes and puts everything else in, and it's like this community happening. And then I also thought about, as she's making her quilt, the coat of many colors. That's been used in so many different ways. It could have been the ugliest coat, or it could have been the most beautiful coat. Dolly Parton talks about it as the most beautiful coat because she had a coat. Lots of her family didn't have a coat. Yeah, it's pulling all the pieces together for the bigger picture, the bigger mosaic.
Lots of, yeah, you put like that analogy. Yeah, it's pulling all the pieces together. The unraveling in the story is actually pulling all the pieces together.
I
Thank
can't
you.
forget the cauldron with the seeds for the earth and the fact that she has to leave her passion project to go and tend to this to keep humanity alive. So there is a big story around nourishment and caretaking that all women seem to take on. I know men do too. I was raised by a single father, so I know that is not unique to women, but it is the archetype of women to take care of everything else. But this story really resonated with me for a couple of reasons. And if I can compare it to a couple of modalities, like for example, in tarot, there's the Tower card where it's like destruction comes in, but it clears that path for something better to come along that's more suited to you in the situation. And at the time that it happens, it's absolutely devastating. And I've been through so many of those Tower moments in my life where it feels like everything is just falling apart, but then somehow once it falls apart, the pieces come back together, but it's more beautiful and I level up. And knowing that, so if I go back to human design, there's a thing called an incarnation cross, and that's where you carry most of your energy. And one of the gates in mine is gate 51, which is the gate of shock. So it's almost like I have to have these Tower moments in my life in order to level up. And I know a lot of us do, and a lot of us become nurturers and healers through the traumas that we have. And that makes the world a better place, if that makes sense.
Everything makes sense with stories. So yes, it's wherever it touched you. Thank you. Yeah, it is a big story, and the woman is, it's archetypal. It's the creative force, the whatever you want to call her.
The caretaker, the nurturer, the creative, the
Yeah,
intuitive.
the great
She's just,
caretaker. The great
yeah,
caretaker, yeah.
yeah. It's a beautiful story.
Good. Glad you enjoyed it. Abby, do you want to share anything?
Yeah, I'm really appreciating everyone's take on this story. It's inspiring me to think a little bit deeper. I think what really stood out for me is the idea of, we hear a lot about pivoting when you're like on this path and you think that this is the end goal and I'm on this path and I've made headway, and then something happens that there's just no way of going around it. You have to pivot. You have to take a different direction. And in those moments, we are faced with a decision. Do I give up now? And just like, I've gone so far, I've worked so hard on this, or whatever might be the case. Or do we find a different way and have faith, because you have to have faith when you decide to make that pivot, that this other way this other path or this other direction is going to result in something even more beautiful than originally what you had planned. And I know that has been my experience many times in my life, where I've gave it my all, I've worked my butt off on something or really invested in something, and something beyond my control happens, and I'm faced with that decision where it's, oh, do I just say forget this and leave it and be on my way, or do I find a different way? And I can honestly say that every single time, just like in the story, the outcome has been something so far greater and so far more beautiful than I could have even imagined, right? And so I think that really stood out for me, because what are we going to do sometimes with the pieces? We're going to pick those pieces up and make something different. And yeah, and I also like the analogy of the cauldron as well, and how many different directions that we're pulled on at times, especially as women and as mothers and caregivers and all of that kind of stuff. And sometimes I have to pause and put things aside that I'm passionate about, that I'm like excited about, all of that kind of stuff, to be able to tend to very real my 4 children that heavily rely on me. They're not self-sufficient at all. And it doesn't mean that I'm giving up on this other thing. It's just that I have to tend to this right now. This is what really needs my attention right now. And it's just that idea of finding balance in that, which is sometimes elusive, but it is possible. So yeah, thank you so much for sharing that story. Just very
Yes,
thought-provoking.
and while you're tending to the children, who knows what's going to happen to the other projects that can,
Exactly.
things are going to
Totally.
happen in the background. Yeah.
Yeah. And we are resourceful. We will find ways and we'll find solutions if we really want to. And so it's just remaining flexible at all times, and yeah, just being willing to maybe go a different direction than we might have originally planned for.
And what the story is telling us, I feel, is that it's also important to take that time to look at the unraveling, to look at the chaos. And if we stay there for too long, that's not healthy. So every one of us has this, what Michael Mead calls it, and I don't know where it comes from originally, but a thread of genius. So we all have our own thread, and we just need to find that thread again and start working with that thread. But we first need to grieve what we've lost. And I have been through, I don't know, I was just thinking about it this morning, that I've been through so many relationships in my life, and in the past, I just jumped into the next relationship. And this is the first time in my life where I'm noticing that, yes, I've been on my own for a year and I'm really enjoying it. And I wouldn't even consider getting into another relationship, the furthest thing from my mind. But I also noticed that it's not just, there's some fear there. It's like, I just don't want to have to go through all that pain again, ever. And clearly I'm not ready for it. But and it's similar with all the different businesses that I've set up. I think to myself, can I go through that again? And I think that's why this story is very emotional for me, is part of the reason, is that life just does. This is just a natural part of life, and we will find the thread again, and we will start again. So it gives.
I think it's really important to remember that that thread that we're looking for can look completely different than the one we thought.
Yeah.
Like how you're saying that you went from one relationship to the next, and now you're really focusing on yourself. And when you're ready to pick up that thread, it could look completely different than you ever thought it was going to look before.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I also wanted to add that really in the unraveling, that is where we actually find the pieces that make that next thing even better, right? Because it wasn't for nothing. We learn from these things. We grow from them if we choose to, right? Because we could choose to just leave the pile and not look at it and just whatever, and we're done kind of thing, right? But when we make the choice to actually be like, okay, like I know that I can't complete this. It's not going to go the way that I originally planned. Let me look at these pieces. Let me see what I can do. Let me see what I can take with me, what helped me, all of that kind of stuff, so that the next time it's hopefully a smoother kind of journey because you've learned some things. Right. And then that's why the result can be very different. So yeah, that's really where the unraveling is. I just think of my own journey, the times when I have completely, I used to actually talk about this like early on in my recovery journey, how when I ended up in jail for the second time in my life, that's when the unraveling of my life really began. I had been holding it on so tightly, and this is when everything started to unravel and I started to discover what was really behind the addiction, but what was really behind all of that kind of stuff. And with all the pieces that my life imploded to, that's how I was able to build myself back up into a very different person, right? And I would have done that if I would have just given up and said, oh, this is just what it is. Yeah.
And you wouldn't have done that unless you'd unraveled. Like you had to go through that complete breakdown.
But I look at the unraveling differently, because as I work with people to bring them home to themselves, the unraveling is you're on the wrong path. You're going full steam ahead, and the whispers and the bricks and all the signs, you're going, oh, I'm good. I'm good. Especially for women with the burnout, it's pull it back, come back home, and really think about who you are and why did the unraveling happen. And especially, I see this in women a lot when they just go from one relationship to the other. And I'm like, but who are you in these relationships? What do you mean? You're his partner. You're his. Who are you? And then they start understanding why they needed to unravel.
Yeah.
And this happens during relationships too. It's, I don't know my wife. I don't know my husband. Let's start redating. Or the kids take over the relationship. And so the kids come and join the relationship. They are still secondary to the core relationship. And that's what we're forgetting so much of it. And especially as time's speeding up, it's like, how is the heck is it the end of March? I don't know. But it's been a ride.
Yes. Lisa, did you want to respond to? Oh, you didn't. Okay.
No, I already did. I already mentioned. Yep.
Yeah. No, I thought you wanted to say something again. I've had to learn through. It's about Abraham, through who channels Abraham?
Esther Hicks.
Esther Hicks. It's the more experiences you have of what you don't want, the closer we get to what we do want. And I've needed that. I can't, if you'd asked me what I really want when I was in my 20s or 30s, I didn't know. I had to figure out what wasn't going to work so that I knew what would. I haven't had that clear vision. And it just gets clearer and clearer as I've messed up, made mistakes. So I say mistakes are like the only failure is the failure to try, basically. And
But think of mistakes as realignment.
Esther Hicks
is
absolutely.
the prime example with Abraham. They've made a 25-year career of saying, ask for what you want.
Yeah, I know.
Clear
it's the same thing over and over again. Yeah.
She doesn't say anything different. For 25 years.
Yeah.
Just says it in a different
quite
way.
funny, actually.
Each time.
Yeah, in a different way. And that's.
I love that. I love that. And you know what? Take as much time as you need. What's the rush? It's because when we're rushing, we don't take that time to just sit and ask. If we took that time, maybe it would happen sooner. And I remember my mentor, the late, beautiful Jim Rowan, and something that landed for me many years ago, which has really helped, is one little phrase, many little phrases, but this one in particular for this time is the past does not equal the future. And that's just been embedded in my unconscious so deeply. That's right. Past doesn't define who I am and my future. We define that. We decide. We make the choice.
Yes,
And,
yes.
and I'll take it one step further.
Yep,
The past no longer exists.
exactly.
We're in the new world. We are creating every moment all the time.
100%.
It's about being in the present. Like, even as we started this conversation of what do we want to represent our companies or whatever, Joanne's taking a deeper transformation of the dragonfly, right? Abby, the hummingbird. The hummingbird used to be the dinosaurs. They're saying, we were so big, no one understood us. So we're going to come by and be these little creatures that you guys all think were the cutest little things. And do you know a hummingbird cannot go backwards? The only bird that cannot fly backwards.
Wow, I didn't know
Right?
birds
So
could
talk
fly
about-
backwards.
No, but think about forward movement. They're going so fast, there's no time to go backwards. That's a waste. And then you think about even the butterfly, right? Like, they can, in their lifetime, which is one season, they can fly up to 3,000 miles. And then they're done. So when I see them, I always go, where are you in your journey? Are you just starting or are you coming to the end? But I appreciate you when I see you.
And I just want to add that butterfly, it takes some time, doesn't it? It cocoons before it becomes a butterfly.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
marinating in
The imaginal.
But aren't we all marinating as we move through the chrysalis
Yes.
into the new of who we are becoming in this new world?
100%. Love it. Oh, I love this conversation.
And I'm just going to
Well,
add to
the
that
first-
because something that was shocking to me when I mentioned how I did research on the metamorphosis process and the fact that they fully have to digest themselves, including their heads. So meaning when they come out a butterfly, they don't even have the same brain that they had before. Like, it is completely just different. And yeah, it's just really powerful. And thanks for sharing that fact about the hummingbird. That's really amazing and very symbolic. Thank you.
And
Thanks.
that's
I would like, we do need to start to bring it to a close, but maybe, just one last comment, Adele, and then I'll.
well, no, it's
cut.
just like as we are bringing it to a close, it's nothing is an accident. It's an incident of awakening. So if we see the butterfly, if we see the dragonfly, if we go, wow, you used to be a dinosaur, you take it all in and go, what a blessing. Because everything is showing up on our path for our expansion.
But we have to
into-
stop and observe it.
Well, yeah, but
That's
it's
the important.
into
That's
that
the key, the
unity of
awareness. Yeah.
consciousness.
Notice it.
Yeah.
Notice it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And there was a doctor who did a reel that says, everyone's missing vitamin G. And I went, okay, I got to listen to what this is saying. Gratitude. We do not take enough vitamin G.
Yeah, I love that. And when I first heard the story, and as I said at the beginning, the story is told I don't know if there's ever been a time when people didn't feel like things were chaotic and unraveling. But anyway, this story is for those times. And I felt such a sense of reassurance and hope when I heard the story, because it explained in such a simple way to me why we need to go through the chaos and the unraveling, and that I can feel such love for that dog, that black dog or the black crow, as much love as I feel for the woman. And it just was very very reassuring and meaningful to me. So yeah, let us bring any closing comments that you want to make. It's optional, but yeah, I just want to give you a chance to say anything you want to say in closing.
I just want to say, nice meeting you all, ladies. This is my first time, and I will be back.
Yeah, that was beautiful, Samantha. Thank you. Lovely to meet you, ladies. And just remember, self-compassion.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you.
I'll echo
Okay.
that and just
Yes.
say how grateful I am to be here and in your wisdom, all of you ladies. And thank you so much for having me again. And I, like Adele, I will be back. This was really fun.
Same. Thank you so much, Samantha, for your brilliant storytelling and the juicy conversation, ladies. This was really incredible. I definitely gained some personal new insights. And yeah, I will be back. I have a whole string of panels that I'll be on. So I love this community, so I'm really excited. Thank you.
Yay,
Are they
yay.
always like this?
And I'm going to be running continuing these storytelling the last Thursday of every month at this time for the next 6 months. Is that right, Sophia? Did I get in?
And hopefully even further than that too, Samantha, because like everyone, I love your wisdom circles. I enjoy out of everyone, your storytelling is amazing, and how you bring in everyone to share their wisdom on that story and how it affects us all. So yes, I'm really honored that you bring your stories to Sacred You and beyond. So for everyone out there who is watching, do yourself a favor, click on these links, reach out to the women who are there and connect with them. Or even better, come and join us for the next one on Zoom, same time, same day, maybe not the same time, depending on where you are in the world, because we're daylight saving here.
Yes.
But thank you ever so much. Thank you for Lisa and for Joe. It's great to see you, Abby, and Adele for joining us for the first time. Really appreciated. And yes, do come back and join us again. And for everyone who is watching, check out Sacred You. Come and join us for free. Come and hang out in our village and meet these amazing women at another event. So thank you ever so much.